Big day, bro. Big day. First day is always, you know, getting rid of the nerves and, you know, stage one. It's a challenge, and bringing yourself up mentally for that, and, you know, dealing with the nerves and making sure your vehicle's ready and prepared is
the key.
Very important. Key.
So after gathering our supplies in Cooktown, we headed off to Laura, and we got there late in the afternoon. So we decided to have a camp on the Laura River, which was a dried up bed at that time of year, and a great little spot to have a camp for the night. And just down the road from Laura is the beginning of the old coach road. Okay, so on this trip we're taking the 76 series Black Knight and of course the 78 series Torpedo. On this vehicle here we have a couple of different setups to the troop carrier. Okay, we've got the electronic shock control system from Superior Engineering, which will turn all that mechanical energy into thermal energy in the oil and the shocks. I can control those from inside the cab, and I'm looking forward to that feature. Certainly have the big Maxxis tyres. We've got the diff locks. Okay, we've got a Harrop diff lock in the front, and in the rear we've got the Mace auto locker. So I'm curious to see how that performs, having not trialled it off-road before. It has a 4-inch lift in it. The Torpedo, on the other hand, has a 3-inch lift in it. Okay, and the Torpedo, uniquely compared to the Black Knight, is in its traditional mode of being leaf sprung. Okay, now this suspension on this vehicle is a 2.5 remote res Superior Engineering shock with airbag man airbags, but which will let all the air out of. So curious to see how these two setups compare and contrast on this track to give you guys some good feedback. So the Black Knight has a Superior Engineering bolt-on coil conversion kit. Now the airbag that we use for this kit is a coil airbag that sits inside the coil tower. To take air out of those bags, I have the old-fashioned nipple here on the back and just release air out of it that way. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit nervous. On this track here, it's obviously very dangerous, and on this trip, for the first time, I've got these two vehicles together, and I've got some friends driving them. So that's always a big thing for anyone, is to hand your babies over to someone else. So if there's tension in my voice, it's purely natural. Let's do it. The reputation of the old coach road precedes itself. We'd heard quite a bit about this track. I had no previous knowledge of it, but I knew that it was one of the most difficult tracks in the Cape York area, and there was a lot of trepidation on our behalf as we approached it. This track is definitely a low-range track. Gnarly rocks, boulders, heavy articulation, winching opportunities. This track will test your vehicle to the limits. At a length of 76 kilometres, you wouldn't think the old coach road is going to take you that long. But think again, it's a gnarly track, as I've mentioned, and you're going to be taking it very slow. We'd heard about 7 to 9 hours of solid driving in low range will get you there. But with us, we were filming, so that was going to take us probably around 2 to 3 days. Ideally only 2 though. Obviously the most important thing on any track like this, or any remote track like this, is safety. You want to have enough food and water to cover yourself for a few days. You want to have your GME EPIRB sorted, your sat phone, anything that's going to decrease the risk in case of a major incident occurring.
How are those electronic shocks going?
Hey, they're great. I've got them set on the softest setting here, and yeah, it's really smoothed out the ride, so far so good.
Very nice.
Yeah man, I love it.
All right, so we've been traveling down the old coach road from Laura for about 15-20k now. It's freaking boiling out here. At about that point, you'll come to a fork in the road. You've got the Jawalbina Aboriginal camp down that way, and this is the turnoff that we're taking. So as you can see, 4-wheel drive required, no services. So you need your sat phone and your GME EPIRB. After having heard of the notorious reputation of the old coach road, the first section was very easy, and we were wondering if we actually had the right track. Certainly past the Jalbina Nature Reserve, it gets hectic. But up until that point, you don't even need to air down your tyres. So one of the things we needed to do to make a trip like this possible and take the two vehicles was find a couple of reliable and trustworthy drivers. Not the easiest task, but I was very lucky on this occasion. Sam McClary, a very experienced four-wheel driver, has a 79 series of his own, so I didn't have any qualms about him driving either of these vehicles. And then Mitch. Mitch is a beginner, so he was going to need some more tuition as we went down some of these gnarly tracks, but he was up for the challenge, and that's the main thing. Now the first quarter of the old coach road consists of some moderate inclines and some dry river crossings, nothing too hectic, but we found it a great opportunity for us to sharpen our teeth and start to get our vibe going on, working as a new team. Okay, so we've just pulled up here because now is a good time to air down the airbags before we hit Maytown. Well, if speed kills on-road, it definitely does off-road. You really want to take your time on a track like the old coach road. It's gnarly AF. Get out of the vehicle, assess your line, and take it very slowly, and have your spotter there to guide you the whole way. No, I think looking at wheel line, look, one's going to hit there, one's going to hit there. It'll probably bring you up level. Personally, I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze when there's a track right next door for clever people, not chickens. So I mean, you know, comparing it to this side, this is super easy, it's level. We're in the middle of nowhere. Why risk rolling the vehicle over or damaging the vehicle? We've got loads of Ks to go, loads of tracks to go. So yeah, we'll just cruise on up here, and even that looks fairly challenging up there in a couple of spots. Doing its thing, but less challenging than that, yeah. So for anyone out there who has an expensive vehicle, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking to throw the keys to your mate who you haven't seen driving before. I was no different. I was a bit uptight, watching the boys like a hawk, a bit of a SpongeBob SquarePants, got my knickers twisted every now and then. What gear was he in?
Just a little bit heavier to give it like a little bit of handle through that bit.
So, yeah, man, and you know, it certainly increases the blood pressure when you stall it in a fucked up position. But you know, you maintained your awareness and you got through it, so well done. Good stuff. But we started to loosen up as the trip went on, and I trusted the boys to get the job done with my full confidence. Step up rock shelves here. Nothing weird, unusual. Keep it out to the left here. The bend here, and I've got a bit of a shelf to get up, and both wheels will probably hit that at a similar time, but should be alright. Alright, here we go. Yeah, probably a bit more squirt than I wanted. Throttle control wasn't great, but no foul. Bit of a step up there, bro. It's like cool. We're just driving along here on the old coach road, and if you take a look outside, you can see some of the burnt leaves from a recent bushfire that's gone through here, but also the bright green new growth that's starting to kick on through now too, which gives it this great contrast. It's beautiful, beautiful colours. Oh my god, these coils. You know, this is the first time I've had a really good chance to test out the coil conversion since the last 2 years on a really gnarly, mogully track. And God, it is amazing. I think everyone should have the coil conversion on their vehicles. And to be honest, I really wasn't saying that 2 years ago. I was sort of take it or leave it. But after doing this track with these new shocks, it's a no-brainer. It really is. Mate, we're really moving now. The track is certainly smoothed out in this section down here towards Maytown. So, you know, you could nearly put it in 4 high. And, well, you can still come undone on these tight chicanes here if you scrape a panel on a tree, but a lot smoother, which is great. So at this point, we reckon we were about 10 to 15k from Maytown. And given that the track hadn't been that difficult up until this point, we knew it was going to be a fairly solid 10 or 15k of low range ahead of us. So at this point, we'd been traveling for around 7 to 8 hours, and we were all in agreement that we weren't going to make Maytown today. Time to get some rest in, recuperate, and hit the tracks tomorrow feeling much more refreshed. So with day one over, let's have a chat to Mitch and Sam and get their thoughts on day one of the old coach road. So here we are about 10 k's north of Maytown on the old coach road, and I'm relieved to say we made it this far without incident. Sure, there were some gnarly, steep sections with some mogully tracks and that sort of thing that required a look and a second look, but we made it through okay. Now, some thoughts on the vehicle itself. The Black Knight, my God, this vehicle is an animal, an absolute animal, right? The coil conversion with these shocks is mint. And okay, yeah, I'm aligned with Superior, but you know what? I don't care what you think. This is the best setup four-wheel drive I've ever driven. Okay, so take from that what you will. So in a moment, I'm going to have a chat to my other drivers as well to get some of their feedback from their experiences on one of Cape York's most difficult tracks. So as mentioned previously, we have both vehicles here, obviously. One of the drivers for those vehicles, or both of the vehicles to my right here, is Sam McClary. How you doing, mate?
Very well,
Thanks for coming along. I really appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Sam, you drove the Black Knight and also the Torpedo. What are your thoughts on the differences between the handling of the two?
Very different. The Black Knight just seems to meander through stuff. You know, very little cab roll. You get in the Torpedo with the leaf springs and it seems to move around a lot.
It bounces out of those moguls too, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah. And, you know, throttle's a lot different in the Torpedo against this thing. You know, you barely need it sort of poking up the hills in the night, and the Torpedo's, you know, being a little bit heavier and leaf sprung. You sort of,
a lot heavier, really.
Yeah, sort of need to jump it over things, you know. So.
Yeah. So overall, if I'm reading between the lines, would you say the Black Knight was a more enjoyable ride?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hopefully I get back in it tomorrow.
Do I have to be worried that you're going to steal it?
No.
Excellent. All right, so there you have it, Sam's thoughts on driving these two vehicles. Certainly the Black Knight coming out in front. All right, so my second driver to my right here is Mitch. Now, Mitch is a newbie in the four-wheel driving world. He hasn't done a lot of off-roading, and it wasn't really fair to bring him into this track first, but hey, suck it up, hey, Mitch.
That's it. Got my cherry busted today.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so tell us a little bit about, firstly, how you felt this morning with this notorious track in front of you, how you felt the track was for you, what helped you get through it, and also how you feeling now?
This morning I was pretty nervous. I think going over the information out there and people's past experience and reviews of the track left me a little bit nervous, saying that it's basically the hardest track in Cape York.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, buckle up, hey.
Yeah, thrown in the deep end a bit, but the experience of the track was a lot different than how I was feeling this morning. And I think that's due to not only the vehicles, but the people, guiding me through this experience.
Yeah, I forgot to say, Sam, he has a lot of experience off-road, and you know, we sort of decided that he was going to mentor Mitch through these tracks, which, you know, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, so that's basically ghosted Sam for the first part, and that was really good. I got to see a lot of how he controlled the car. Pretty much basically became a sponge for that first part, watching his throttle control, the lines he picked, what gears he were in, what revs where he was at certain points. And that really put me in a good position and made me feel comfortable to a point where I could take on this track and feel very comfortable now.
Yeah. So you're no stranger to driving a car, but these are turbo diesel V8s. Any thoughts on what you found the most challenging differences between these kinds of vehicles?
Yeah, so my experience lies more in petrol street cars. They're a lot more, you know, you can give them a lot more and they're less forgiving, whereas the cruisers, they've got a lot of bottom end torque. You don't have to worry about stalling. They can poke through things you really didn't think you'd be able to poke through.
The whole low range thing is a whole other kettle of fish, right?
It is. That to be honest was that took me the hardest to get over, just because I'm used to, it goes against everything I've ever sort of learned with cars. So
Yeah, sure.
my natural instincts to, you know, give it some herbs, or not let it drop in revs, whereas the cruisers is completely opposite. And it took a little while to get used to, but once I got used to it, it was really...
You found your groove.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
So how do you feel now compared to when you started?
Amazing. It's been one of the best days I've had.
You're welcome.
Cheers, brother. I feel good. I don't want to get too overconfident, because that's when the old boot will get up the arse.
Yeah, sure, I've done that. I used an EPIRB to call me out of here. Expensive taxi.
But it's been an amazing trip. I feel great. We've had some amazing views, gone through some cool terrain. But honestly, and again, due to the vehicles and the experienced people to guide me through this, it's not as difficult as I thought it would be. I think if you're a beginner and you have some experienced people through you, you can totally do this track.
Great feedback there. Thanks, Mitch. Certainly, as a beginner, it's going to be tough if you haven't got good people around you in a competent vehicle, capable vehicle. But as you've just heard, it can be done. So hopefully everyone's confident for tomorrow. I'm certainly feeling better than I was this morning. So on to the next bit. Certainly day one on the old coach road was not too difficult, I must say. But just like an oil leak on your swivel hub, I had the feeling we hadn't seen the worst of it. So yesterday was quite good. We didn't find it that technical or difficult, but we've had that heavy rain last night, so we're a little bit concerned about what condition the track might be in. So we're going to take it easy again today. So today we're off to Maytown, which is about 10 k's south of here. It was once a gold rush city in the 1870s. So there's still some remnants and ruins in that area from that period of time, and we're super curious to go down there and have a look, and stand by, we'll show you those. After the storm came through last night, we had a few tedious hours ahead of us drying our equipment out. But then we launched back into off-road mode, ready for another big day on one of the most grueling tracks on the Cape York Peninsula. We were well aware there were going to be some treacherous sections of track ahead of us. What we didn't know is just how quickly they would appear and, to our frustration, cause us issues. Literally about 10 metres from camp on day 2, Sam radioed ahead that he'd lost tyre pressure in the rear right tyre of the Torpedo.
All right, so we just came out of camp this morning and we're travelling down this little rocky bit here. It's a little bit steppy and that sort of thing. A little bit of a tight squeeze, as you can see, going through this area here. We sort of had to pick our line very carefully. Got through okay in the Black Knight. The Torpedo, which Sam was driving, is about 1,000 kilos heavier, so you're going to get more bag in the tyres. So it's just nicks the bead off the rim underneath here, so it's deflated. Seems to have sealed it a little bit, but we're going to try and pump some air into it and see if it takes, and if it doesn't, we'll just replace it.
We'll run her around, see if we can't pump it up. Pump up the jet. Oh, yeah. Alright. Oh, it says fucking 12 PSI, but it's got fucking 20 in it now. It's just a meter, just to, yeah. Right, so basically we took a closer look at it, we put some air in it, and it already had about 12 PSI in it, which we rented at 14 yesterday, so it seemed pretty strange, but the boys definitely heard air coming out of the tyre, pumped it up again, and it's fine. So yeah, no drama. So of all the off-road incidents that you can potentially have on a track like this, that one was probably one of the better ones to take. It was an easy fix, which was great. So once we were confident the tyre wasn't losing any more pressure, we set off again and made tracks towards Maytown. There's two elements to the old coach road that I find fascinating. On the one hand, you've got this gnarly off-roading track that's really going to test man and machine. And then you've got the historical element to it as well, the Palmer River goldfields and the historical ruins of Maytown. According to our HEMA maps, it appears that we were still about 10 to 15 kilometres from Maytown. There's a tricky part just down and around the corner which we just took a closer look at, but we need to hug to the right side because there's a bit of a rut on that left, but we should be all right. Yesterday was nowhere near as gnarly as today. You can really see what people were talking about when they said this track is a roller coaster. Literally up and down like a hooker's knickers all day long. The constant up and down kept us keen and alert. We needed to keep good concentration on where the wheels were going. This was a real psychological battle for us, as much as a technical one. At times like these, one must really keep their head in the game, and we all teamed up to make that happen. One wrong move and this track will literally bite your ass. We've been making our way down this ridge all morning, and we've come to this section that has a steep descent, followed by a very steep ascent out of a dried up riverbed.
Are you going front and rear locker there or what?
No, I want to steer, so I'm just going to keep that mace locker in. How am I lined up? All good?
All good. Yeah, nice one.
Alright, so this is a pretty steep descent, and it's rutted. We've just got the tyres and the rut marks.
The right hand down.
Got my spotter out there, Sam's keeping me. All good.
Yeah, good line.
Obviously with a bit of rain, it's been soft, eh?
It is soft there.
Bit of a sketchy feeling, just that last bit.
Yeah, a little bit of an angle, eh?
Alright, shall I keep pushing?
Yeah, might as well get you out of this bit, eh?
Yeah.
There, I think.
How does that washout look on the way up?
Pretty gnarly.
So on this occasion we decided to be prudent and go very slowly, getting one vehicle at a time past this obstacle. In times like these, it's great having as many hands as possible on deck to help where necessary. Anything steep, the difficulty of this track just feels amplified, or any track for that matter. So we've got a fucking steep.
Definitely want your left hand wheel up this side, Ed.
Yeah, copy that. And then when I get to you, straight out of it?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a like a washout here. I think it'll eat it up, but torpedo we may have to pack it a little bit.
Yeah, copy that.
I'm just going to send her up and aim for where you're standing, kind of thing with my left wheel.
Thankfully, we got out of that without incident, but it was very close. In retrospect, I should have walked the track myself to take a closer look and check the angles and danger zones. One can't get complacent on this track, lest you want to learn an expensive lesson. We were all very grateful our lesson came at a bargain. That is how you do it the safe way. First you saw it with the Black Knight, the risky way, don't walk the track, just send it, mate. Here we thought it through, we got the winch rope out, we used our recovery equipment to make it safe so it wasn't lifting wheels and we're getting all hectic and all the rest of it. So look, we'll have a chat to Sam in a minute and get his thoughts on it, but I'm sure he's going to say he was much more comfortable. So obviously these four-wheel drive tracks, pose difficulties in terms of the vehicle, but in terms of the human behind the wheel, they're a psychological battle as well, because you're using your pride and joy, a very expensive vehicle, and they're in these precarious positions, so it can get the adrenaline pumping and the stress is pretty high, but there's a sense of achievement when you get out the other side that I struggle to find in any other hobby. So yeah, that's why I do it. Since leaving camp this morning, we've been making our way down off this ridge here, and it looks like we might be down in the valley now. We'll proceed through these lowlands and river crossings. None of them are too nasty, but you still have obstacles everywhere, and diff killers are literally around every corner.
Coming out the end is a little rock on that left side.
The old coach roller coaster continued. It seemed to us like the gold diggers who made this road actually wanted to go the hard way, although we all agreed there was no easy way. Day 2 on the OCR is definitely more challenging, and the concentration levels are off the scale. The vehicles are getting tested to the max, and so are we. In the late 1800s, Maytown was the centre of the gold rush that was occurring in the Palmer River Goldfields region, and it attracted people from all around the globe, hoping to strike it rich. All of the gold mined in the Maytown area was carted out to Cooktown via Laura on the Coach Road, which is now the Old Coach Road. We can definitely see why this track has such a notorious reputation. After another 5 or 6 hours on the track today, we're starting to feel fatigued and worn out. With another couple of Ks left to go, we'll be out here for a few more hours yet. We've set our goal for Maytown, but the sun waits for no one. And we conceded that we may just need to camp here for another night yet. The wet season hasn't set in just yet, so the light rain we've had here has been very manageable. These washouts in the middle of the track here are created by the insane amount of water that falls during the actual wet season. So have a look at this mad articulation. This is the thing that I love about the coil conversion on the Black Knight. It's just sick. From ridge to creek and repeat. Ridge, creek, repeat. We just kept crawling along, trying to get to the next horizon. We couldn't get too hasty, because if we make a wrong move now, we're still out of range of all standard communications. We've done really well so far, and it'd be such a shame to break something now. The Palmer River goldfields are still active, but the current miners use the graded track out of Maytown, south along Whites Creek Road. North of Maytown is left for the serious off-roaders.
Getting this track wet.
So it looks like we've hit a slight obstacle on the track here. A massive tree came down perhaps in the storm last night. It doesn't look like it's been here for too long. The leaves are still green and it looks pretty fresh at the snap over here. So we're gonna have to, we didn't bring a chainsaw on this trip unfortunately, but we did bring a handsaw, so, and I've got some muscle behind me, so that's all good. Occasion, we can drive around it. That's great. All right, should be a bit harder in the torpedo. With the twin. One of the things that really struck us about the old coach road is how difficult it must have been back in the heyday. The first pioneers who came to this area would have been met with very rocky terrain, and to carve that track out must have been so difficult with the resources they had. But hey, when there's gold on the line, it's amazing what you can achieve. I mean, just think, these guys carved out this track with a few ponies. We had a couple of hundred under the bonnet and it was still bloody tough. During the years of its operation, the Palmer River goldfields produced over 15,000 kilograms of high quality gold. That's equivalent to $1.2 billion in today's money. Not a bad effort for such a small town, and no wonder so many prospectors were eager to get out here. Times like these, you know, you're blind without your spotter. You really need to get that second opinion about what you're doing, because sometimes the track is just freaking you out inside your head and your mind goes blank, and you just got to put 100% trust that your spotter's seeing what you can't. So I did that and it worked out. Part of the track is so freaking hectic. The first part, not a drama. This part is like when you can't steer, you're like, fuck, not in a bad spot. Yeah. That's when you need the spotter, hey?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just looking at you like,
This is a great track for everybody to do with their missus. You're going to have such a fun time, no fights. It's brilliant. Bring the missus along, she'll love it.
It's fucking Maytown. I wish it would just show itself. Fucking dead. Jeez. Hey, I wouldn't like to be doing this track in the high season, hey, and come across someone coming the other way. That'd be a shit show.
Oh, it'll be Stress City.
Stress City. Speechless after that. That was freaking epic, hey? I mean, that's a difficult track, all those moguls and drop sides and up. Look, with this, it's a leaf sprung vehicle. It hasn't got as much flex as the Knight. Even the Knight found that difficult, so to get through there, you just had to think a little bit more, pack up areas with rocks and bits and pieces so it's not too flexy. But otherwise, it was a brilliant drive by Sam.
Are you glad you came, boys?
Mate, absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, hey? I mean, it's hard work, but shit, anything worth having is hard work, right?
Fucking own. Yeah, it is hard work. I was glad I came when we fucking left the sunny coast, mate.
Absolutely. So one of the main reasons I come on these sort of trips is not just to conquer these tracks, but to get another perspective of nature that 98% of Australians just don't get to see. It's just unbelievable. After about 8 hours into day 2, we finally reached the outskirts of Maytown. The rain was still drizzling and the sun was due to set in about 45 minutes. These roads were a dream compared to what we'd dealt with for most of the day. And ultimately, we were able to power through and reach what was left of the Maytown township.
Oh boys, check out these smooth roads. Jeez, loving it. Cannot wait to get out of here.
It would seem that Maytown's glory days were short-lived, and what was once a booming gold rush town was dwindled down significantly by the turn of the century. Most people had abandoned the town by the 1920s, and most structures were removed by the 1940s. Today, Maytown is basically a ghost town, but you don't have to look too hard to see a nod to the former glory days. According to historical reports, Maytown had 12 hotels, 3 bakeries, a butcher, a lemonade factory, a chemist and even a surgeon, plus all the miners and their infrastructure. This little town was humming. It's hard to believe that at some point in Maytown's history there was 1,500 people roaming around here in the heyday, let alone 20,000. Today, as we drive through, there were 4 of us, and even that seemed like far too many. All right, so here we are at the end of the old coach road, which is Maytown. Today's journey on the old coach road was quite a bit harder than yesterday. Very difficult from where we woke up from camp. It took us hours to do about 10 Ks. So having made it here, it's obviously on sunset, sundown. We've had another full day on the track here, and yeah, we're looking forward to getting the hell out of here.
So after leaving Maytown, we cruised on to the Palmer River Roadhouse. Now, it's not next door. It's about 2 hours over some seriously undulating terrain with a lot of dips in the road as well, so you want to be careful on that road still. When we got here, it was just great to decompress, have a couple of beers. I mean, we were physically and mentally cooked from the weather, from the difficulty of the track. So it was just a great little oasis to get to. And when you're here, you can take a look around this little mini museum here, which is free entry, and have a look at all the things the Palmer River Roadhouse has to offer.
So certainly day one on the old coach road proved to be nothing too strenuous or difficult. However, when it came to day two, it was a different story. No less than 100 metres from our camp, we'd lost the bead off the rim there. So that took a bit of time to sort out. And from that point on, it was really slow going. We needed the spotters out. We were grateful to have 2 vehicles. You know, assessing and walking that track beforehand is really important. And when you see big undulations, big moguls, taking a bit of time to put some rocks in and, you know, just chug through it slowly. Get your winch out if you need to, which we needed to at least, well, twice, but we only got out one time, and you probably saw what happened there. But let's have a chat to the guys and see their thoughts on the old coach road. Okay, so you obviously saw how difficult the old coach road was for the vehicles to get through, but from a human perspective, it was tough as well. This time of year, it's super humid, it's super hot, and it was cooking our brains by the end of day 2 yesterday. So let's have a chat to Sam here and get his thoughts on the old coach road and who he thinks it's great for.
Good man. It was very difficult. There was lots of puckering situations where we had some big wheel lifts, but I think having that spotter and a spotter that knows what they're doing makes a massive difference for anyone. I wouldn't be doing a track like that without a decent spotter and a second vehicle at that.
Yeah, those 2 things are extremely important on this track, a spotter and a second vehicle to just to help guide you and encourage you through those really tricky situations. Let's have a chat to Mitch. Mitch is certainly a beginner in the off-roading world. I think he did a sterling job the last 2 days. Mitch, how do you think you went? What were the difficult elements for you?
In contrast to the first day, which was relatively easy and straightforward, it definitely stretched me out a lot faster. It was straight into hard downhill movements. We hit a spot of rain, which also added an element of stress there, considering I've never done it like that before. As a beginner, I'd say don't do it by yourself. Definitely make sure you've got experienced guys with you. However, if you're a beginner and you do have those experienced guys, go for it.
There you go. That's some great insights there from Mitch and Sam. Thanks, guys, and thank you so much for doing a great job driving these vehicles. It's been fantastic. So that's the old coach road, guys. I hope you enjoy it as we did, and encourage you all to do it. Good luck.